Welcome to another invigorating episode of Mr. Chow Time, representing linear functions, page 390 if you're following on the book. All right, linear equations. So we've learned about functions. So what a linear equation is basically a function where the rate of change, the relationship between the x and the y values is always the same. And if you graph that, it will end up being a straight line in whatever the straight line might look like. Those are all straight lines, pretend. Okay. A function table shows the values for the x, y functions and the function rule. So let's just take a look at one of these examples. Here is a function table. Here is the x and the y, and then here's the function rule, right? So we can put any numbers into this and find some ordered pairs as a result. So we can put, I like to use -1. I also like to use 1 because these are some pretty easy numbers. Another really easy number is 0. And then the next thing naturally is 2, right? So these are some really easy numbers to plug into just about any equation to get some answers. So here you get y is equal to 7 times -1, which is -7. So if x is -1, y is -7. And there you go. There's your ordered pair. Y equals 7 times 0 is 0. A nice and easy one. 0, 0. This is special. I'll talk about this later. Y equals 7. 7 times 1 is 7. So 1, 7. And then y equals 7 times 2, which is 14. 2, 14. So there you have it. This is a function table for a linear function. It's linear because the exponent here is a 1. It doesn't say it is, but it is. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And yeah, so if we look back at the vocabulary words, the graph would be a straight line. If we graphed it, it would be a straight line, and the rate of change is constant. We will look at what that means in the next example here in the your turn. Okay, so your turn. So -1, 0, 1, 2, y. In fact, I'm not going to write the y equals anymore. I'm just going to write -1 plus 2, 0 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 2. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be -1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. So the rate of change is the change of the x values compared to the change in the y values. So here you can see the x values are going up by 1 each time, right? Which is what I did here on purpose. And then the y values, look at that, they're also adding by 1 each time. And so because the rate of change is always the same, you're always adding 1 and adding 1, this rate of change is constant. And so that's what is meant here, a function with a constant rate of change, okay? All right. So, all right, next example. Here's a situation. A bubble tea costs $30. Extra bubbles costs $10. Find 4 solutions of 30x plus 10y equals 200 in terms of bubble teas x, right? So whenever you see this, bubble teas written and then, or any phrase written and then there's like a variable afterwards, it means that these two things are attached, okay? And extra bubbles, y. Miss Chen, there should be a period right here. Miss Chen can buy, oh no, there's not, that's just the continuation. Miss Chen can buy with $200. So find the 4 solutions where bubbles is X and extra bubbles is Y, that Miss Chen can buy with $200. Explain each solution. So if X is the bubble teas, if she buys one bubble tea, then how many bubbles can she buy? How many extra bubbles can she get in that one tea for $200? So that's what we're going to find out. 30X plus 10Y equals 200. So this will be 30 times 1 plus 10Y equals 200, which is 30 plus 10Y equals 200. And then I'll have to come over here. So I'm going to subtract 30 on both sides, and that'll give me 10Y equals 170. I'm just going to write this in here just so I don't lose anyone. And then we're going to divide by 10 on both sides, and Y is going to be 17. So if she got one bubble tea, she could get 17 extra orders of bubbles. So basically her cup would just be overflowing with bubbles and there'd be barely any tea in there. It'd be amazing. 2, 3, 4. And so we're not going to use negative numbers here because that doesn't make any sense. You can't go to a bubble tea shop and ask for negative teas. You know, you can't be like, oh, hey, bubble tea shop, let me sell you a bubble tea. Wouldn't that be great? That's not how that works. So there are some situations you cannot put negative numbers into. If you tried, it just would, it wouldn't be right. You'd get that problem wrong. All right. So 30 times 2 plus 10y equals 200. So that's 60 plus 10y equals 200. And I know a lot of you could do this math pretty simply in your head without seeing me do every single step. And, you know, you're just going to have to bear with me here. Y equals 14. So if she bought 2 bubble teas, she could have 14 orders of extra bubbles. 3 times 30 would be 90. Minus 90 on each side would be, I can do this, 110. Divide by 10 is 11. So, oops, 11. 311. These are starting to make a little bit more sense, right? If you got 3 bubble teas, you could put 11 extra orders of bubbles into those 3 bubble teas. And finally, 4. So that's 120 plus 10y equals 200 minus 120 from both sides equals 80. So this is going to be 8, 4, 8. So if she got 4 bubble teas, she could get 2 extra orders in each tea. Yum. For those of you who love bubbles. I don't mind them. I don't love them that much though. Okay, so let's say Savi and his 2 friends have a total of $180 to spend on tacos and burritos for lunch. Yum. I like burritos and tacos more than I like bubbles. A burrito X costs $40 and a taco Y costs $20. Find 2 solutions of the equation 40x. There should be a plus in there. I'm going to go in there and change it now, actually. Plus 20y equals 180 to find how much food they can buy with $180. 40x plus 20y equals 180. And I actually had a few questions about this in the last unit, and I'm just going to address this now to everyone. These situations are all people who go to school at a school in Kaohsiung, and Kaohsiung is a city in Taiwan and uses the New Taiwanese Dollar, also called the NTD. And NTD does not come in decimals, right? So if you get an answer that's 10.2 NT, then lop off that 0.2. It's 10 NT. So let's figure this out here. Let's find some solutions for how much food they can buy. Now burritos are awesome, so I'm going to put 3 here, 3 burritos, and then I'm gonna put four burritos here because I like burritos more than I like tacos. So burritos is X, 40 times 3 plus 20y equals 180. So that's going to be 120 plus 20y equals 180. Subtract 120 from both sides. 20y equals 160. And then divide by 20. That doesn't make any sense. No. 60, not 160. And then y equals 3. So you can buy 3 burritos and 3 tacos. Great combination. 40 times 4 plus 20y equals 180. So this is going to be 160 plus 20y equals 180. Subtract 160 from both sides. So that's going to be 20y equals 20. So divide 20 on both sides, y equals 1. So if you buy 4 burritos, you can only have 1 taco to share between Savi and his 2 friends. Okay. When we have our answers, for example, we had 3 burritos, 3 tacos, 4 burritos, 1 taco. These are ordered pairs, right? Which means we could graph them onto a coordinate plane. The x-intercept is when you graph a line onto a coordinate plane, sometimes it will intersect with the x-axis. The only time it will not is if it's a horizontal line, right? So if it's anything other than the horizontal line, it's going to intersect with the x-axis and it will have an x-intercept. Same thing for the y-intercept. Anything except for a vertical line is going to intersect with the y-axis. Unless, of course, actually there's one exception to both of those things. If your line is horizontal and it's on the x-axis, then it intersects with every line point. And same with the y. So anyway, how do we use that? So let's use the same equation here. 40x, oh yeah, see here, I've copied and pasted. And here we go. 40x plus 20y equals 180. Find the intercepts. That will tell us the maximum burritos or minimum tacos possible. So how do we do that? Well, 40x plus 20y equals 180. Remember that the line, let's say that the line looks like this. Here on the intercepts, this y-intercept, let's start with the y-intercept. At the y-intercept, the ordered pair is going to be some y value, right? But the x is going to be 0 because it's on the 0. It's here. The y-axis intersects with the x-axis at 0. And the same thing here. At the x-intercept, the x value will be some value, but the y value will be 0. So how do you find these? You just put the 0 into the equation where it makes sense. So if you want the y-intercept, what do? You put 0 into x. So 40 times 0 plus 20y equals 180. This just is 0. So all you have left is 20y equals 180. Divide both sides by 20. And y equals 9, right? So this intercept is going to be 0, 9. That's the y-intercept. And this is the maximum number of tacos you can buy, right? So to find the maximum number of burritos, we're going to come to the other side here. We're going to put 0 into y. So it's going to be 40x plus 20y. I'm sorry, 20 times 0 equals 180. And again, that cancels out, right? So all we have left is 40x equals 180. Divide both sides by 40. And here we get x equals 4.5, right? And so this is not an answer that makes sense. We can't buy 4.5 burritos. You're not going to find very many burrito places that are willing to cut their burritos in half so that you can buy half of it. So if we're trying to find the maximum burritos is going to be 4. So if you're answering this on some sort of a, assessment, you would say 4 burritos. But the intercept is going to be 4.50. So we have the y-intercept here, we have the x-intercept here, y-intercept, x-intercept, and if you had to interpret it, if you had to give it an answer that made sense in the context of a question, you might change it to a whole number or something like that. Okay, this is turning into a long video, so let's try to finish this quickly. Now that we know the intercepts, we can connect the points, right? Oops, maybe we should bring this stuff back. So now that we have these intercepts, we can use them to create a graph, right? And that's going to tell us every possible value of x and y. That is the point of a graph, is to show you all the possible answers of a linear equation. So I'm just going to rewrite this over here, 0, 9, and 4.50, and then I'm going to erase all of this stuff here. Okay, here we go, all right. And I'm also going to use a different color that's a little bit brighter, I think. I'll use this really obnoxious red. So our first point is going to be at 0, 9. So 0 on the x, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the y. Our second point is going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 0. So it's going to look like that. Then you'll just grab some sort of a line making tool, and voila. Now this line is going to extend further in each direction, right? It will actually look like this. If you were to draw the line and it would go all the way through, it might look something like this. But none of the answers and the negatives matter, right? But it doesn't. Let's not talk about that right now. If you had a piece of paper and a ruler, you would just draw a line straight through, and then you would just put little arrows on the ends of the line to make it a line and not a line segment. And there you have it. These are all the possible answers. Now, of course, a lot of these are not real answers, right? Because like this answer right here doesn't make any sense. Again, you cannot buy, what is this, like a quarter of a taco, right? And you can't get 8.5 burritos either. The only answers that make sense in this question are these answers right here, but at least you can see them, right? At least you can see them. Okay. No, actually, I'm sorry. This one makes sense too. And actually, this one, you could buy 4. You would just have some extra leftover money, right? Okay. Graph each function in your notebook. X or y equals x minus 4. So there's no way for me to check this. So this is a your turn that is just going to be, up to you to do. So we'll put y as 0 first. So that'll be 0 equals x minus 4. And then we'll add 4 to both sides. So x will equal 4. So that's 0, I'm sorry, 4, 0. And then we'll set x to 0 to get the other intercept. So this will be y equals 0 minus 4. So 0 equals negative 4. So now we have negative 4, 0, negative 4, sorry. Okay, so if we had a graph, which we don't, it would look like this. 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and then negative 4. Oh, I'm sorry, 0, 4. Oh my goodness, okay. Clearly I'm losing it. This is all wrong. All wrong. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so the first one is 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 zeros right there. The next one is 0, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would look something like that. The second one is x plus y equals 2. So we put y equals 0. So that would be x plus 0 equals 2. So x equals 2. And then we put x is 0. So 0 plus y equals 2. And look at that. Y also equals 2. So here we have 2, 0. And here we have 0, 2. So I'm just going to actually erase this one to make this easier so I don't have to draw another graph. And then this is going to be, I'm going to use a different color also. 2, 0, and 0, 2. And that would be the graph. Okay. Last example. After X hours of riding his bike, there are Y calories in thousands remaining in Kyle. So one thing that we should do is note what the variables are. So Y calories in thousands and X hours of riding his bike. So X is hours and Y is calories in thousands. And it can be represented by this. State the X and Y intercepts. So, man, we don't have a lot of room to work here, huh? 1.8, I don't like this color. 1.8x plus y equals 18. So first we'll put, I guess, x equals 0 first. So that would be y equals 18. So 0, 18, right? So if I put 0 into this, then the 1.8 times 0 is nothing. And then all we have left is the y equals 18. Then we'll do y equals 0 and find what x is. And so if y is 0, then we have 1.8x equals 18. Divide both sides by 1.8, and x equals, I'm going to say that's 10. So do I have enough? I think I do. So let's graph it. 0, 18. Oh, 18. I don't have enough here. So I'm going to have to relabel this graph. So let's call this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So 0, 18 goes right here. And then we'll relabel these two. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, so x is 10. It'll look like that. And then it'll look something like this. So this is the number of calories that he has in thousands. It's dropping as we go. So that's what interpret means. Interpret means to explain to someone who's not looking at this word problem They're not looking at the situation. They don't understand what's going on. They're not looking at this graph. If you were to explain to someone what was happening, what would you say? So how would you explain these intercepts? At this intercept, this one means that Kyle has not started biking yet, and he has 18,000 calories in his body to use. And this one means that after 10 hours of riding his bike, Kyle has no more calories to use and he must rest. Okay, last, your turn. Jonathan's cleaning service charges $800 plus $400 per room cleaned. The total cost, Y, can be represented by this equation. So total cost is Y. X is the number of rooms. State the X and Y intercepts. Okay, so at least we have a little bit more room this time. Y equals, actually I'm not going to rewrite this because that's going to take up too much space. Let's just say what happens when X is 0 and Y is 0. So when X is 0, Y equals 400 times 0 plus 800, which means Y equals 800. So 0, 800. When Y is 0, that would be 0 equals 400x plus 800. Subtract 800 on both sides. Negative 800 equals 400x. Divide by 400 on both sides. And we have negative 2 equals x. So negative 2, 0. So what do these mean? All right. The first one, where X is the number of rooms cleaned, if you haven't cleaned any rooms at all, then it will cost $800. That's what this first intercept means. If you hire him, but you have 0 rooms to clean, it's going to be $800 right away before he even cleans anything. And then if he comes over and then he cleans a room, it's $400. He cleans another room, it's $400. But before he cleans anything, if you've hired him, it's going to cost $800. Here, the only way that it can cost nothing is that if you clean 2 rooms for him, I guess. If you have negative 2 rooms to clean. So, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense, huh? So if you hire him, the only way you don't have to give him money is if you go to his house and clean up after him. So don't hire him if you don't need him. Here's your must do. Enjoy.